Okay, good morning, dear students of IT 6208, System Integration and Architecture 1. I am your OLC, Ms. Karen V. Delara from AMA East Rizal Campus. So, welcome to another virtual class today. So, last meeting, we have discussed the concept of software architecture and system design. So software architecture refers to the bigger structures of a software system that deals with how multiple software processes cooperate to carry out their tasks. It also consists of various factors such as design, quality attributes, IT environment, human dynamics, and business strategy. Software design, on the other hand, provides a design plan that describes the element of a system, how they fit and work together to fulfill the requirement of the system. So, for today's meeting, we will be discussing the following: system testing definition, importance and characteristics of system testing, guidelines of system testing, key areas and prerequisite of system testing, different types of system testing, tips to perform the system test, the difference between error, defect, and failure in software testing, and system testing's contribution to software development. So let us first define what is system testing. So it is a level of testing that validates the complete and fully integrated software product. The purpose of a system test is to evaluate the end-to-end system specifications, and usually the software is only one element of a larger computer-based system. Ultimately, the software is interfaced with other software or hardware systems. System testing is actually a series of different tests whose sole purpose is to exercise the full computer-based system. A black box testing technique performed to evaluate the complete system, the system's compliance against specified requirements. In system testing, the functionalities of the system are tested from an end-to-end perspective. So system testing means testing the system as a whole. All the elements and components are integrated in order to verify if the system works as expected or not. It is also done after conducting integration testing, which plays an important role in delivering a high quality product. So I have here some of the examples of how system testing is used. So the first one is take a web application as example. Suppose we are doing testing on a web application of a school, and in this web application, there are many modules like teachers module, staff module, parent module, student module, and administrator module, and so on. Now we have to do system testing on this web application by maintaining certain steps. So first, you need to test the graphical user interface related issues on all the modules mentioned by checking its font size, the alignment, the display images that should work properly. Now, after checking the graphical user interface issues, we will move towards the functionality issues of the system by checking if all the requirements of clients have been met or not. After the functionality related issues, we will now check if the application is user friendly or not. This can be checked by determining if proper error messages are displayed on the screen or not. So in this usability testing, you will keep in mind that apart from functionality, user friendliness is very important. Now let's proceed with our second example. A car manufacturer does not produce the car as a whole car. So each component of the car is manufactured separately like seats, steering, mirror, brake, cable, engine, car frame, wheels, and the like. So after manufacturing each item, it is tested independently whether it is working the way it is supposed to work, and that is known as unit testing. Now, when each part is assembled with another part, that assembled combination is checked if assembling has not produced any side effect to the functionality of each component, and whether both components are working together as expected, and that is known as integration testing. So in this example, the whole car needs to be checked for different aspects as per the requirements defined, like if car can be driven smoothly, brakes, gears, and other functionality are working properly. Car does not show any sign of tiredness after being driven for 2,500 miles continuously. And car can be driven on any kind of roads like smooth and rough, slopey and straight. And this whole effort of testing is known as system testing. So why is this system testing necessary? So software testing is really required to point out the defects and errors that were made during the development phases. So, example, programmers may make a mistake during the implementation of the software. So there could be many reasons for this, like lack of experience of the programmer, the lack of knowledge of the programming language, insufficient experience in the domain, incorrect implementation of the algorithm due to complex logic, or simply human error. The second one is it's essential since it makes sure that the customer finds the organization reliable and their satisfaction in the application is maintained. If the customer does not find the testing organizations reliable and is not satisfied with the quality of the deliverable, then they may switch to a competitor organization. Sometimes contracts may also include monetary penalties with respect to the timeline and quality of the product. In such case, if proper software testing may also prevent monetary losses. Number three, it is very important to ensure the quality of the product. Quality product delivered to the customer helps in gaining their confidence. So as explained in the previous point, delivering good quality product on time builds the customer's confidence in the team and in the organization. Number four, testing is necessary in order to provide the facilities to the customers, like the delivery of high quality product or software application, which requires lower maintenance costs and hence result into more accurate, consistent, and reliable result. So high quality product typically has fewer defects and requires lesser maintenance effort, which in turn means reducing costs. Next, number five, testing is required for an effective performance of software application or product. So this means that the software product's components are all functioning well and has met the user requirements, objectives, and goals. Number six, it's important to ensure that the application should not result into any failures because it can be very expensive in the future or in the later stages of the development. So proper testing ensures that bugs and issues are detected early in the life cycle of the product or application. That's why if you could remember our software development life cycle, the first cycle is or the first phase is the analysis, wherein we are going to analyze the problem of a particular system, or we're going to analyze if we need to add additional enhancement or features into the system. So if
Pero
certain defects related to requirements and designs are detected late in the life cycle, it can be very expensive to fix them since this might require redesign, re-implementation, and retesting of the application. And number seven, it's required to stay in the business. So users are not inclined to use software that has bugs. They may not adopt a software if they are not happy with the stability of the application. So what are the different characteristics of system tests? So there are several tests used for testing the software. So each test has its own characteristics, and the following points should be noted. Number one, high probability of detecting errors. So to detect maximum errors, the tester should understand the software thoroughly and find some possible ways in which the software can fail. So for example, in a program to divide two numbers, the possible way in which the program can fail is when 2 and 0 are given as inputs and 2 is to be divided by 0. So in this case, a set of tests should be developed that demonstrates an error in the division operator. Number two, we have no redundancy. So the resources and testing time are limited in software development process. Thus, it is not beneficial or useful to development several tests. So which have the same intended purpose and every test should have a distinct purpose. Number three, characteristic, choose the appropriate or choose the most appropriate test. So there can be different tests that have the same intent, but due to certain limitations such as time and resources constraints, only a few of them are used. In such case, the tests which are likely to find more number of errors should be considered. And number four, we have moderate. A test is considered good if it is neither too simple nor too complex. Many tests can be combined to form one test case. However, this can increase the complexity and leave many errors undetected. So these are certain rules and guidelines that are followed during software testing. And these guidelines act as a standard to test the software and make testing more effective and efficient. So we will be discussing the commonly used software testing guidelines. So the first one is define the expected output. So when programs are executed during testing, it may not produce the expected output due to different types of errors present in the software. So in order to avoid this, it is necessary to define the expected output before software testing begins. Without the knowledge of the expected output, testers may fail to detect an erroneous output. Second guideline, inspect output of each test completely. Software testing should be performed once the software is complete in order to check its performance and functionality along with the occurrence of errors in various phases of the software development. The third guideline is including test cases for invalid and unexpected conditions. Generally, software produces correct output when it is tested during using accurate input. However, if unexpected input is given, it may produce erroneous outputs. Hence, test case that detect errors even when unexpected and incorrect inputs are specified should be developed. The last one, test the modified program to check its expected performance. So when certain modifications are made in the software, like adding new components, adding a new functionality inside the system, it is possible that the software produces unexpected output. Hence, it should be tested to verify that it performs in the expected manner even after modifications. So these are some of the key aspects of which system testing focuses. So the first one is we have performance. So it makes sure that the software system execute as per requirements of the user without depicting any defects or issues. Next, we have security. Protects the product from any security breaches, data theft, which can sacrifice critical data and information of the organization. And this is one of the most important area in system testing. Next, we have recovery. ensures that the recovery of the system is as per expectations and in accurate condition. Fourth, we have interface. System testing also focuses on the interface of the product and ensures that all requirements are met accurately and no issues occur when two components of the system are integrated together. Next, we have installability. The focus of system testing is to make sure that the product installed and implemented to the production environment without any difficulty and issue. Next, we have usability, another important aspect of system testing. It ensures optimum user experience of the system. Documentation is the accuracy of the document is also tested and monitored by this type of testing. So by the way, we have two types of documentation in software development. We have the technical documentation, which describes the flow or the algorithm of the software product. And we also have a user's manual, which provides a step-by-step procedure on how we are going to navigate or use the system. And the last one is the load and stress. So system testing also makes sure that the system performs and functions accurately under different and extreme load or stress. So, before initiating the process of system testing, it is vital for the team to consider all the requirements needed, which can impact the result of testing or make it more tedious. So, here are some of the important prerequisites of system testing. Number one, team should make sure the software is unit tested. Integration testing should already be implemented on the product. The software should be developed completely. And before implementing the process of system testing, the team should ensure that the testing environment is ready. So, system testing is called a superset of all types of testing, as all of the major types of testing are covered in it. So, although the focus on types of testing may vary on the basis of product, organization, processes, timeline, and requirements. So, in this slide, we have different parts and subparts of the different types of system testing. So, we have the system acceptance testing, which covers verification, validation, and audit testing. Under the system level testing, we have sub-testing, unit testing or program testing, and system testing. Under installation testing, we have functionality, recoverability, interoperability, and robustness testing. For the performance testing, we have scalability, reliability, regression, stress, load, and stability testing. And for documentation testing, we have security, feasibility, regulatory, and safety assurance testing. So let us define the different types of testing in this table. So the first one is system acceptance testing. So this is conducted to determine whether or not a system satisfies its acceptance criteria and to enable the customer to determine whether or not to accept the system. So in this particular type of testing, this is the final opportunity for end users, the management and information system operations management to accept or reject a system. So they provided some criteria which will be evaluated by the end user of the system. So the following levels of acceptance testing are verification testing, procedures that attempt to determine that the product of each phase of the development process is an implementation of a previous phase. So each verification activity is a phase of the testing life cycle. So the system runs in a simulated environment using simulated data. So the simulated test is looking for erroneous and omissions regarding end user and design specifications. So while validation testing is the process of evaluating a system or component during or at the development process to determine whether it satisfies specified requirements. So this testing, the system runs in a live environment using the real data. And the validation testing is also known as the beta testing. So during the validation, a number of items are testing. So like we have system performance is the throughput and response time for processing adequate to meet a normal processing workload. We have the peak workload processing performance. Can the system handle the workload during peak processing period? Next, we have methods and procedures testing. So during conversion, methods and procedures for the new system will be put to their first real test. And backup and recovery testing is we have full-size computer files and databases with real data. We should test all backup and recovery. We should simulate a data loss disaster and test the time required to recover from the disaster. So the third one is the audit testing. So it certifies that the system is free of errors and is ready to be placed operation. So it also identifies some risks and evaluating control against risk. So the next type is the system level testing. So there are three levels of testing to be performed. The first one is the sub-testing. It is the best performed on individual events or modules of a program. So in other words, it is the testing of an isolated subset of program. So next we have the unit testing or program testing. So this is performed at an extremely low level of system development, and as a result, it is rarely observed by clients and so doesn't get appropriate recognition of its importance. So in this test, all events and modules that have been coded and sub-tested for a program are tested in an integrated unit. It is also testing of an entire program. Next, we have the system testing. It ensures that application programs written and tested in isolation work when they are integrated into the total system. So the process of testing a hardware and software system to verify that the system meets its specified requirements. So this testing process is conducted by the testing team in both development and target environment. So just because a single program works properly does not mean that it works with other programs. So the integrated set of programs should be run through a system test to make sure one program properly accepts as input and the output of the other programs. So next we have the installation testing. To make sure that product or software can be installed on specific or support defined system can be configured and can be brought into an operational mode. Next, we have functionality testing. So it provides comprehensive testing over the full range of the requirements within the capability of the system. So to make sure that functionality of product are working as per the requirements defined within the capabilities of the system. So the functionality testing also involves communication testing, module testing, graphical user interface testing, security testing, and feature testing. Next, we have recoverability testing. So to make sure how well the system recovers from various inputs and other failure situation. So next, interoperability testing. So to make sure whether the system can operate well with third-party products or another kind of interoperability test is called backward compatibility test. So compatibility tests verify that the system works the same way across different platforms, operating systems, and database management. So backward compatibility tests verify that the current software build flawlessly works with older versions of platforms. So next we have the robustness testing. So it is designed to verify how sensitive a system towards an error input or how the system behave in error situation in a changed operational environment. So this testing also determine if the user inputs an invalid data into the system. So this will determine how the system will behave or interact with the data that has been inputted by the end user. So next we have performance testing. So to measure the performance characteristics of the system like throughput and response time under various conditions. To make sure system scaling abilities in various terms like user scaling, geographic scaling, and resource scaling is performed under the scalability testing. So tests are designed to verify that the system can scale up to its engineering limits, and scaling tests are conducted to ensure that the system response time remains the same or increases by a small amount as the number of users increase. Next, reliability testing. So to make sure system can be operated for longer duration without developing failures. Reliability tests are designed to measure the ability of the system to remain operational for long period of time. Regression testing is making sure the system stability as it passes through integration of different subsystems and maintenance tasks wherein you are going to add new components or new features into the system. So the main idea in regression testing is to verify no defect has been introduced into the unchanged portion of a system due to changes made elsewhere in the system. Next, we have the stress testing. Its goal is to evaluate and determine the behavior of a component while the offered load is in excess of its design capability. Next, we have load and stability testing. Tests are designed to ensure that the system remains stable for a long period of time under full load. Load and stability testing typically involves exercising the system with virtual users and measuring the performance to verify whether the system can be anticipate or can anticipate load. And this kind of testing help one to understand the ways the system will fare in life situation. Next type of testing is documentation testing. So it means verifying the technical accuracy and readability of the user's manual, tutorials, and other help related documents. So we have security testing to make sure system does not allow unauthorized access to data and resources. This is very important. That's why in a certain system, aside from providing unique username and password, we also provide different levels of access to the system. And we also monitors who logs in and out of the system using the audit trail. Next, usability testing to make sure that system is easy to learn, use, and operate. So technical and non-technical person will be able to understand the system and the content of the tutorials or the user's manual. Next, regulatory testing. In this category, the final system is shipped to the regulatory bodies in other countries where the product is expected to be marketed. So if the software to be developed will not only be available within the Philippines or will be marketed to other country, so the final system will be approved by the regulatory bodies. Next, safety assurance. So there are two basic tasks performed by a safety assurance engineering team: providing method for identifying, tracking, evaluating, and eliminating hazards associated with the system, and ensuring that safety is embedded into the design and implementation in a timely and cost-effective manner, such that the risk created by the user-operator error is minimized. So it is important that we define the system testing process in order to ensure that its procedure is executed accurately without missing any critical detail or step. So process of system testing may vary from project to project or organization. So however, there are 6 common steps that are part of its process. So the first one is create a test plan. So the initial step of the process involves test plan creation, wherein the lead or test manager define the scope and objective of testing. It also determines the strategies, decides between manual and automated testing, define the exit and entry criteria, assigns roles and responsibilities, among other things. So the list of standard point to consider in this process may include the goals and objective, scope, critical areas to focus, test deliverable, testing strategies for system testing schedule, test environment, roles and responsibilities. The second process is we have test case creation. It is from this step that the process of testing is initiated by the team. So it is very much similar to functional test case writing. In test case writing, different scenario and cases of different types of tests has to be written. So these test cases is needed to ensure that test cases are covering all functional, non-functional, technical, and user requirement. Next, number 3, we have select test data. So once the test cases are developed by the team, they work together to select or create the required test data, which plays a critical role in the test execution. Next, we have number 4, test case execution. Finally, the test cases created earlier are executed by the team who constantly monitor the process and record any discrepancies or issues encountered by them during the process. Next, number 5, bug reporting and fixation. So it is in this stage of the process that the team reports all the recorded bugs and issues to the concerned member of the team. So the bug verification also involves regression testing, which is performed to make sure the system's stability as it passes through an integration of different subsystems and maintenance tasks. And the last process is repeat the test cycle if required. After all the issues and bugs are resolved and fixed, the team repeats the test cycle to get the expected result. Okay, so system testing is performed by professional or individual testers for various reasons. So from evaluating the system to ensuring its compliance with the specified requirements. So this type of testing offers great aid to the testing team as well as the other stakeholders of the project. So few of the other reasons for performing this testing are: number 1, it ensures that the product meets the quality standards. Number 2, verifies that the software system meets the functional, technical, and business requirements requested by the customers or client. Number 3, performs end-to-end testing of the software product, which prevents system failure and crashes during its implementation to the live environment. Number four, it is performed in an environment that is similar to the production environment, which enables the developers as well as the concerned stakeholders to get an idea of the user's reaction to the product. Number five, it plays a significant role in delivering a quality product to the end users. Number six, it is during the stage of software testing life cycle that the application architecture and business requirements are tested. And number seven, it ensures that the input provided to the system offers expected output or result. So though we perform the system testing, so people usually assume acceptance testing to be a part of system testing. So therefore, to differentiate them from one another, here is a comparison between the two. So the first column, we have the system testing, and the second column is we have the definitions or concept of acceptance testing. So under system testing is the testing of a system as a whole. End-to-end testing is performed to verify that all the scenarios are working as expected. So acceptance testing is done to verify if the product meets customer requirements. System testing includes functional and non-functional testing and is performed by the testers. Acceptance testing is functional testing and is performed by testers as well as the customers. System testing is performed using test data created by the testers. While acceptance testing, real and production data is used while performing this type of testing. Next, a system as a whole is tested to check the functionality and performance of the product. Acceptance testing is done to verify that business requirement, example, it solves the purpose, what customer is looking for. Defects found in the testing can be fixed under system testing. For acceptance testing, any defects found is considered as a failure of the product. Next, system and system integration testing are types for system testing. Alpha and beta testing come under acceptance testing. So the following are the list of some tips to consider in performing system tests. Number one, replicate real-time scenarios rather than doing ideal testing as the system is going to be used by an end user and not by the trained tester. Number two, verify the system's response in various terms as the human does not like to wait or to see the wrong data. Third tip, install and configure the system as per the documentation because that is what the end user is going to do. Number four, involving people from different areas like business analysts, developers, testers, customers can send in a better system. Number five, regular testing is the only way to make sure that the little less change in the code to fix the bug has not inserted another critical bug into the system. So, what is a failure in software testing? So, if under certain environment and situation defects in the application or product get executed, then the system will produce the wrong result causing a failure. Not all defects result in failures. Some may stay inactive in the code and we may never notice them. Example is the defect in dead code will never result in failures. So it is not just defect that give rise to failure. So failures can also be caused because of the other reasons like number one, it can be the environmental conditions as well like a radiation burst, a strong magnetic field, an electronic field or pollution could cause faults in hardware or firmware. Those faults might prevent or change the execution of the software. Failures may also arise because of human error in interacting with the software. Perhaps a wrong input value being entered or an output being misinterpreted. Finally, failure may also be caused by someone deliberately trying to cause a failure in the system. So, what are the differences or the difference between error, defect, and failure in software testing? So, error. The mistakes made by programmer is known as an error. So, this could happen because of the following reasons. Because of some confusion in understanding the functionality of the software, because of some miscalculation of the values, and because of misinterpretation of any value. A defect is the bugs introduced by programmer inside the code are known as defect. This can happen because of some programmatic mistakes. A failure, if under certain circumstances, these defects get executed by the tester during the testing, then it results in the failure, which is known as software failure. So when tester is executing a test, he or she may observe some difference in the behavior of the feature of functionality. But this is not because of the failure. This may happen because of the wrong test data entered. Tester may not be aware of the feature or functionality, or because of the bad environment. So when do defects in software testing arise? So the person using the software application or product may not have enough knowledge of the product. Maybe the software is used in the wrong way, which leads to the defects or failures. The developers may have coded incorrectly, and there can be defects present in the design, or an incorrect setup of the testing environments. So, to know when defects in software testing arise, let us take a small example with a diagram in this slide. So, we have requirement 1, requirement 2, requirement 3, and requirement 4. So, we will be discussing each of the example. So, requirement 1 is implemented correctly. So we understand the customer's requirement, designed correctly to meet that requirement, built correctly to meet the design, and so deliver that requirement with the right attributes. Functionality, it does what it is supposed to do, and it also has the right non-functional attributes. So it is fast enough and easy to understand. Requirement 2 is fine until the software is coded. When we make some mistakes and introduce defects. So probably these are easily spotted and correctly during testing because we can see the product does not meet its design specification. The defect introduced in requirement number 3 are harder to deal with. We built exactly what we were told to, but unfortunately, the designer made some mistakes, so there are defects in the system. Unless we check against the requirement definition, we will not spot those defects during testing. When we do notice them, they will be hard to fix because design changes will be required. So we are going to redesign to correct those defects. The defects in requirement 4 were introduced during the definition of the requirements. So the products have been designed and built to meet that flawed requirements definition. If we test the product meets its requirement and design, it will pass its test but may be rejected by the user or customers. Defects reported by the customer in acceptance test or live use can be very costly. Unfortunately, requirements and design defects are not rare. Assessments of projects have shown that defects introduced during requirements and design make up close to half of the total number of defects. So for requirement number one, correct functional and non-functional attributes are being delivered. For requirement number two, correctable defects. Redesign to correct defects for requirement number three. And requirement number four, defects may be hidden from the IT team, including the testers. Okay, so from where do defects and failures in software testing arise? So number one, error in the specification, design and implementation of software and system. So a specification is basically a written document which describes the functional and non-functional aspects of the software by using a pros and pictures. So for testing specifications, there is no need of having code. Without having code, we can test the specifications. About 55% of all the bugs present in the product are because of the mistakes present in the specification. So testing specification can save lots of time and cost in future or in later stages of the product. So the second one is error in use of the system. So errors in use of the system may arise because of some reasons. It could be an inadequate knowledge of the product or the software to be tested, and the lack of understanding of the functionality of the developers. Next, we have environmental conditions. Because of the wrong setup of the testing environment, testers may report the defects or failures. As per the recent survey, it has been observed that about 40% of the testers' time is consumed because of the environment issues and has a great impact on quality and productivity. So next, number four, we have intentional damage. So an example of which is when an application is not secure and does not check for SQL injections. So during security testing, testers can inject SQL commands that may result in the application data or database being corrupted. So in this case, the intentional damage would have been caused and reported by the testers. The last one is potential consequences of earlier errors. So errors found in the earlier stages of the development reduce our cost of production. It's very important to find the error at the earlier stage. So this can be done by reviewing the specification documents or by conducting walkthrough. So let's have a look at how the testing can contribute to the success of the overall project. So the first one is involvement of testers in environment reviews and user story refinement. So involving the testers during the requirement phase ensures identification of some of the requirement defects even before their implementation. So it significantly reduces the fixing costs. Next, testers working closely with the system designer. It will increase their understanding of each part of the design, and it will also help in reducing the risk of fundamental design flaws and allows the identification of errors at an early age. Next, having testers work closely with developers. So when testers work closely with developers, It enhances their understanding of each part of the code. It further enables testers to do more efficient testing against customer requirements. Testers become aware of areas that are considered risky by the developer so they can adjust their priorities accordingly. So the second and the third one has a great impact in the success of the project. So it's more on the communication and collaboration between the designers, the testers, and the developers of the system. The last one, testers verifying and validating the software before its release. So this helps in detecting errors that otherwise may have gone unnoticed and support the process of eliminating the defects that cause the failures. Okay? So system testing is very important, and if not done properly, critical issues can be faced in the live environment. A system as a whole has different characteristics to be verified. So last time we already have discussed the different characteristics of the system, like system is has its objective goals, system interact with one another, system also has boundaries, system exhibits hierarchical structure. So those are some of the characteristics of the system. So a simple example would be any website. So if it's not tested as a whole, then the user might find that site to be very slow, or the site might get crashed once a large number of users log in at the same time. And these characteristics cannot be tested until the website is tested as a whole. So to conclude, the importance of software testing is imperative. It is a crucial component of software product development because it improves consistency and performance. So its main benefit is the identification and subsequent removal of the errors. So however, testing also helps developers and testers to compare actual and expected results in order to improve its quality. So if the software production happens without testing, it could be useless or sometimes dangerous for customers. Okay. So for our activity, so given below is the list of some common types of software testing. So to further enhance your knowledge when it comes to systems integration and architecture, and other aspects or types of system testing. So we have here two classifications of testing that can also be performed in a particular software product. So we have the functional testing types, which include unit testing, integration, system, sanity, smoke, interface, regression, beta acceptance testing. While the non-functional testing types include performance, load testing, stress, volume, security, compatibility, testing, install testing, recovery testing, reliability, usability, compliance, and localization testing. So for further readings, you may define the different types of testing in this slide, and you may also provide an example for each of the types of testing. So this is only just an additional knowledge or additional activity for you to determine other types of testing that can be performed in a particular um, software development project. Okay, so again, if you have any questions, please send a message through the LMS chat box, or you can email me through my email address kvdelara@amaes.edu.ph.